Welcome back to the 21 Seconds Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Colt White. We got a quick one, actually, a quick 2 episodes this week. This one, the first for TQHA Sale Futurity Night and TQHA Classic Night at Retama. About a total of 7 stakes races to look at on this episode. And then next one out will be on California Breeders' Championship Night out at Los Alamitos, headlined by the Governor's Cup Futurity and Derby, as well as the Spencer Childers Championship. Let's get right into it for Retama Park this weekend. So for Friday night at Retama, we're going to do, like I normally do, a pick 3 and a daily double. And then for Saturday, just going to pick a super, 4 picks in each for the Retama Park Derby and TQHA Sale Futurity. But let's get started with the TQHA 250 on Friday night. It's race 7 on the card. This begins a pick 3. It's a $9 ticket. And I went 3 deep in the TQHA 250 for 3-year-olds and up. Texas breds going 250 yards, and we got a field of 10 and 2 alsos in this one. Ended up going with the 5 Fabulous Casina as my top choice at 9-2. A daughter of One Fabulous Eagle out of the PYC Paint Your Wagon Mare BM Casino Royale. Detailer, the owner, Brittany Tellez, the trainer, the jockey, Hernandez. It's had 4 starts this year, picked up 1 win, and that came in the Sam Houston 250 on June the 13th. Last time out was about 3 weeks ago in the Grade 3 Selma Stakes there at Retama. Finished 3rd behind Blood's Valiant Policy and Dicavian Wavin there. Just got up for the show in that one. Last year, won the TQHA Sale Sophomore Stakes about a year ago. Also won the La Valita there at Retama. Was 3rd in the John Buchanan last year and also a finalist in the Lone Star Distaff Challenge there at Grand Prairie. Really didn't come around until that 3-year-old year. Was always on the board, but didn't quite break through there until into the 3-year-old year for Fabulous Casino, earner of nearly $150,000 now for the 5-time winner by One Fabulous Eagle. Second, I'm going to go with the 9 JJ Jessa Dynasty. She's by JJ Jessa and Meteorite out of the FTD Dynasty mare JB Chick Dynasty. This one from the Jose Carrizales barn. He's also a part owner on this one with Jorge Basildua. I could never say some of these names. Forgive me on that one. Randy Edison Jr. will be aboard. He's had 7 starts this year with a couple of wins. Started out with a win against Optional Claiming Company. Ran 2nd in the Grade 3 Miss Polly Classic at Delta Downs. 3rd in the Mother's Day. A finalist in the Miss Sam Houston and won an allowance at Delta last time out on July the 3rd. Got up to win by a half length and posted a nice 104 speed index for the 250 yards. Look back at last year, was a finalist in the Evangeline Downs Derby, also 4th in the French Quarters and 3rd in the TQHA 250 last year, and 5th in the Firecracker Derby, 4th in the Old South Derby. So a hard-knocking filly here, a great filly too. I always like that. 7 wins from 28 attempts and $111,000 in earnings for JJ Jessa Dynasty. Then my third pick is going to be a bit of a price here. The 1, Baby Ruth at 10-1. A daughter of Jess Good Candy out of the Corona Cartel mare, Jessa Cartel, owned by My Serenity. Mark Younger's the trainer, the jockey Edwin Escobedo. 4 starts on the year. Started off with a runner-up finish in the Grade 2 Dequetta at Remington Park. Picked up an allowance victory there as well before being a finalist in the Juno's Request. And was also a finalist in the Grade 3 Selma Stakes last time out there at Retama. Last year was a finalist in the James Isaac Hobbs Stakes. Won the Speed Horse Derby last year. Was also a finalist in the Juno's Request and runner-up in the Oklahoma Derby. She's now won 6 times with 4 seconds from 18 attempts, $136,000 in earnings for Baby Ruth. Definitely want to keep an eye on at the price at 10-1. Second leg of this pick 3, I went 2 deep, and this is the Miss Retama Stakes, $50,000 purse, 400 yards of distance for fillies and mares, 3 and up. And it's another full field of 10 and 2 alsos. Almost singled the 10, Blood's Valiant Policy at 2-1. Ended up pairing her with another one. She is by Apolitical Blood out of the Trace Ace mare, BP Trace Policies, owned by the breeder 3-Bar T Quarter Horses. Ben Olofsson, the trainer, the jockey Louise Vivanco. 3 for 4 this year is Blood's Valiant Policy. Won an allowance to get things started. Also won a trial for the Sam Houston Oaks. Had the fastest time going into the finals of that one and finished 2nd in the finals after a horrible break. And then she came back to win the Selma Stakes last time out by a length and a half, drawing away clear and posting a 102 speed index in the process under Louise Vivanco. Last year at 2, won the first 2, made an allowance both at Retama, so seems to really like Retama, and was also a finalist in the Grade 2 Dash for Cash Futurity to end the year last year. Earner of 126,000, now a 5-time winner from 8 attempts in Blood's Valiant Policy. And then I ended up going with the 7 in there as well, celebrating the Eagle at 9-2. This is a daughter of This Is an Eagle, out of the A Zoom mare, zooming and celebrating. Jesus Molina, the owner, Joseph Muncie, the trainer, and the jockey Victor Urieta Jr. 2 for 4 this year is celebrating the Eagle. Picked up an allowance win at Louisiana Downs early in the year, back in February. Had a couple of allowance efforts, but then came back to win again in the Miss Sam Houston on June 13th. Broke on top in that one and started to draw off at the end by 3/4 of a length and posted a nice 101 speed index into a headwind as well that night in the Miss Sam Houston. Last year was 4th in the Evangeline Downs Derby, runner-up in the TQHA Sale Sophomore Stakes, and the La Valita. Was also 3rd in the Old South Derby last year, was celebrating the Eagle, and was also 5th back at as a 2-year-old, I should say, in the Grade 2 Sam Houston Futurity as well. So been consistent throughout her career and has won 6 times with 6 seconds and 2/3 from 19 attempts, nearing that $150,000 mark in earnings and celebrating the Eagle. Last leg of this pick 3 is the Grade 2 Benny Pennington Memorial. 52,000 the purse, 870 yards the distance for Texas bred 3-year-olds and up, and it's a field of 8. Ended up going with the 6 as my top selection. GJR Rooster at 7-2. Gelding by This Is an Eagle out of a Granny Grump by A Little Illegal. Zach Steinball, Joe Yates, and Richard Young, the owners. Steinball trains. Ali Rivera will be in the irons. He's had 3 starts already this year and hadn't been off the board, and has graded stakes placed already twice this year. Won a trial for the Sam Houston Distance Challenge, first time out of the year. Ended up 2nd in the Grade 3 finals there, and was 3rd in the Grade 3 Jesse Yoakum back on June 13th at Sam Houston's. Been really good at the 870 distance, was 3rd in the King Rick Rack last year, won the Lone Star Distance Championship, was runner-up in the AQHA Distance Challenge Championship as well at Albuquerque, and won this race a year ago, the Benny Pennington. So looking for back-to-back in the Benny Pennington for the connections of GJR Rooster. He's won 5 times with 8 seconds and 5/3 from 23 attempts and has earned nearly $185,000. My second choice will be the 3 I Will Decide at 5-2. Gelding by Majestic Cartel out of Valiant Little Lady by Valiant Hero, Byron Gardner, the owner and breeder, Adon Guzman, the trainer, and the jockey Noe Villatoro. Another one with 3 starts on the year. Ran 4th against Optional Claiming Company at Sam Houston back in May. Won the Jesse Yoakum a couple of races back in convincing fashion, drawing off to win by 5 lengths in that. And it was 3rd in the San Marcos a little less than a month ago now, there at Retama behind Yippee and Master Reigns. Had to angle in a bit, was beating a length and a half for the whole thing in that San Marcos. Another one that's been really good at the 870 distance, was 3rd in this race a year ago and has earned $240,000 for the 8-time winner, I Will Decide. And one I just mentioned is my third choice, the 5 Master Reigns at 3-1. Gelding by Dash Master Jess out of Dancy Reigns by He Will Reign. Brock Hawkins, the owner. Mark Younger's the trainer, and the jockey Raul Hernandez Jr. He's had 3 starts this year and hadn't been worse than second. Picked up an optional claiming win early in the year and was runner-up in the Jesse Yoakum and the San Marcos most recently. Was finalist in the King Rick Rack last year and the Lone Star Distance Championship. 4th in this race a year ago. Won the Jesse Yoakum last year as well. These 3 are going to be tough to choose between. Ended up throwing them all on there. Master Reigns earning nearly $170,000 so far. Will most definitely hit that mark on Friday night. So again, that's a $9 ticket on this opening pick 3 in the TQHA 250. I went 5-9-1. The Miss Retama, I went 10-7, and the Benny Pennington 6-3-5. Then a double here to end the Friday night card with a couple of nice races here, a couple of graded stakes races. We'll start with the TQHA 550, a grade 3. Of course, 550 yards of distance, 52,000 the purse for Texas bred 3-year-olds and up. It's a field of 9. I went 2 deep, starting with the 9 Top Cowboy at 2-1. This is a gelding by Flying Cowboy 123 out of Paradise City by PYC Paint Your Wagon. Rodrigo Gonzalez and Leverum Racing LLC, the owners. Mark Younger's the trainer, the jockey Luis Vivanco. This one was runner-up or excuse me, he's only had the 2 starts this year. Runner up in the Gary Baber Memorial last time out, and was also fourth in the the Sam Houston 550 back on June the 13th. Only 2 starts of the year. Last year was runner up in the BF Phillips Jr., a finalist in the Dr. Glenn Blodgett, fifth in the TQHA Classic, third in the Willie Hickman. As a 3-year-old, was a finalist in the Texas Classic Derby and Rainbow Derby Invitational and Ruidoso Invitational. 2-year-old year didn't qualify to anything, but still was running pretty good despite that. But has been pretty consistent throughout his career, despite only the 3 wins and 4 seconds and 4 thirds and 20 attempts. 90,000 in earnings for Top Cowboy. I like his post draw on the outside under Luis Vivanco. And then I'll also go with the 6 On the Rocks at 7-2, a gelding by A. Revenant out of the Stoli mare, Stola Bunny, owned by Sarah Husky, Esteban Rubio, the trainer, and the jockey Francisco Calderon. Hasn't quite gone his way this year. He's usually lights out at this 550 distance, which is why I keep picking him, because every time I haven't picked him, he's ended up winning. Was 7th in the Sam Houston Classic. Of course, that was going 440 yards, and the last 2 times out were both 550s in the Sam Houston 550, a grade 3, and the Gary Baber Memorial last time out. Might be one of the winningest horses at this distance at 550. He's won a lot of races at the distance and usually gets better as the year goes on. I look for him to do really well on Friday night. He's earned $263,000 now from 8 wins in 34 lifetime attempts for On the Rocks. And then in the 11th, the grade 2 TQHA Classic for $60,000, 400 yards the distance for 3-year-old and up Texas breds, and it is a field of 8. Ended up singling the 8 in this one, Cos Priatito at 2-1. A gelding by Cos Tempting out of Mary's Corazon by a Zoom. Rolando and Fernando Soto, the owners. Jorge Correa, the trainer, and the jockey Luis Maldonado. Really good year so far for Cos Priatito. Runner up against Allowance Company at Sam Houston back in April. Ended up winning the Grade 2 Sam Houston Classic on May 9th, and also won the Grade 2 Willie Hickman Memorial on June the 13th. Won that pretty convincingly as well by 2 1/4 lengths and posted a whopping 103 speed index. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, for a different race, that was into a headwind that night at Sam Houston. A pretty strong headwind, too, at 10 mile an hour. Last year was a finalist in the B.F. Phillips Jr. Stakes, 3rd in the Gillespie County Fair Derby, 4th in the Silver Bullet. Didn't have quite the 2-year-old year they were hoping for, but has really come around here as of late. Has had 5 wins and 14 attempts and $140,000 in earnings now for Cos Priatito. So again, on this double, it's a $4 ticket, 9 and 6 in the TQHA 550, and then single the 8 in the TQHA Classic. On to Saturday, race 10 on the card is the Retama Park Derby, $181,000 in the purse, 400 yards the distance for the 3-year-olds here. Ended up going with the 5 on top, just too impressive in the trials. That was Royalist at 2-1. A colt by Corona Cartel out of Ziegfeld Follies by One Famous Eagle. Hector Reyna, the owner. Ben Olofsson, the trainer. And the jockey, Luis Vivanco. 3 for 4 this year is Royalist. Picked up an allowance win and a trial win for the Sam Houston Derby. Ran 2nd in the Grade 3 finals. And then won his trial here for the Retama Park Derby most recently, winning by 2.5 lengths. Much the best in that race, and ended up with a 92 speed index that night for Royalist. Last year at 2. Won a maiden at first asking. Competed in some Futurity trials, just didn't have the luck until late in the year, and that was when he qualified for the Grade 2 Evangeline Downs Futurity. Earner of just over 100,000 now, has been first or second 8 of 11 tries for Royalist from Post 5. Second, I'll go to the 4 Ring-a-Ling-Ding at 9-2. A gelding by Pa Cha Ching out of the Kiss My Hawks mare, Kiss on the Horizon. Cade and Sherry Wallen, the owners. Richard Cedillo, the trainer, and the jockey Nestor Durant. Had a pretty good year so far as well. Started off at Sunland Park, winning a trial for the West Texas Derby. Ran 3rd in the Grade 3 finals. Ended up qualifying to the Sam Houston Derby as well. Finished 4th in those Grade 3 finals, and then won his Retama Park Derby trial last time out. Ended up winning by a length in that one. Kind of had to battle with inflation throughout, but pulled clear late with a driving finish for Ring-a-Ling-Ding. Last year, too, won at first asking as well. Also qualified for the West Texas Futurity at Sunland Park, and was also 3rd in the Four Corners Futurity last year as well. Ring-a-ling ding, 5 wins and 4/3 from 12 attempts. Another one right at that $100,000 mark in earnings. Third, I'll go to the 8, the Valiant Flame, daughter of the Louisiana Cartel out of Valiant Flame by Valiant Hero. Torres Buildings, the owners, Brian Stroud trains, and the jockey, Jose Herbert. 3 starts this year, has done really well. Won the Sam Houston Derby Challenge back in May and was runner-up in the trial for the Retama Park Derby behind Cobra Stone 77. Beaten 3/4 of a length for that one, ran a game second. Last year at 2 was a finalist in the Sam Houston Juvenile Challenge. Ended up winning back-to-back at one point, a maiden at Sam Houston and a trial there at Retama for the TQHA Cyrus Cup Futurity. Qualified to the finals of that one and ended up 5th. One that's been first or second, 6 of 8 tries, 64,000 earnings for the Valiant Flame at 5-1. And then for fourth, I'll go to the 10 Cobra Stone 77 at 4-1. A gelding by PYC Paint Your Wagon from the Apolitical Jess Mare Red Nakedness. Rancho La Cobra, the owners, John Steinball, the trainer, the jockey Rosendo Pena Garcia. 1 for 4 this year. Was third against Allowance Company on debut this year, 5th in the Sam Houston Derby trials, but was good enough to make the Grade 3 finals. And then won the trial here for the Retama Park last time out by 3/4 of a length, like I mentioned, with the Valiant Flame in that trial as well. Last year at 2, won at first asking. That was at Sam Houston in May, won an allowance as well. Ran in a lot of trials, just didn't have any luck last year and has had a little bit better luck this year. But of course, the connections would like to see a little bit more out of him on Saturday night. 3-time winner from 9 attempts, 34,000 in earnings for Cobra Stone 77. So in the Retama Park Derby, 5 Royalist, 4 Ring-a-Ling Ding, 8 the Valiant Flame, and 7 Cobra Stone, and 10 Cobra Stone 77. All right, last one to look at on this episode is the race of the week, the restricted grade 1 TQHA Sale Futurity. $683,000 the purse, 350 yards the distance for 2-year-olds that passed through the TQHA yearling sale last year. Full field of 10. I ended up going with the 4 Whoopie Cowgirl as my top selection. Went with the experience here. Not a whole lot more experience, but arguably a better resume. Daughter of Flying Cowboy 123 out of Takarosi by Tack It Like a Man, Dennis Moran, the owner. Ramiro Villarreal, the trainer. The jockey Francisco Calderon, the nation's leading rider. Already a Futurity winner this year, won the trial and the final of the Grade 2 Louisiana Downs Futurity back in March. Was runner-up in the Texas Breeders' Futurity trials. Ended up 8th in the finals of that one. Just didn't have it that night for whatever reason, but came back in a big way in the trials for the TQHA Sale Futurity, dominating the field by 2 3/4 lengths, a 94 speed index for Whoopie Cowgirl, 166,000 in earnings so far for the Daughter of Flying Cowboy. Then I'll go to the 1 Cowboys Flying at 9-5. I guess I've got a Flying Cowboy Superfecta. It's a little hard to do in this race. I think the top, what was it, the top 5 qualifiers, maybe more than that, were all Cowboys. Anyway, Cowboys Flying is out of the Carter's Cartel mare, Cartel's Lady, owned by Double J Racing, Ramiro Villarreal, the trainer, the jockey Nestor Duran. He is 3 for 3 and getting a lot of attention, and deservedly so. Won at first asking in the Texas Breeders' Futurity trials by 3/4 of a length with a strong driving finish. Came back to win the finals of that one, and he was at the rail that night as well. Broke on top and had another big finish and posted a 106 speed index. And then in the Sale Futurity trials, broke from the outside and just absolutely demolished the field by nearly 3 lengths in the end there, posting a 97 speed index. So he's earned $252,000 now heading into the TQHA Sale Futurity, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of money on him come post time. Third, I'll go to the 8, A Political Cowboy at 9-2. A Colt by Flying Cowboy 123 from the high rate of return mare, Too Cool to Return. This one for Alfonso Rangel and Luis Castellanos, Isidro Hinojosa, the trainer, and the jockey Victor Urieta Jr. 2 for 5 this year is A Political Cowboy. Ended up 5th in that Louisiana Downs Futurity behind Whoopie Cowgirl. was a runner-up in the Texas Breeders' Futurity Trials and the finals behind Cowboys Flying, and then won another trial there for the Sale Futurity last time out. Broke from the far outside, stumbled a bit at the start, but it didn't matter. He just annihilated the field by 2.5 lengths and had a 91 speed index in the process. 148,000 in earnings for Apolitical Cowboy. And then for for fourth, I'll go to the 3 Natural Flying Cowboy at 6-1. A gelding by Flying Cowboy 123 out of Just Another Habit by Fury of the Wind. Maria Gonzalez, the owner, Jose Martinez, the trainer, the jockey Oliver Martinez, and this gelding's 2 for 3. Won a trial for the Texas Breeders' Futurity, qualified to the finals, which was his only loss. Ended up 7th in that one. Lugged out a bit from that far outside post, which a lot of times they tend to do. When they draw that 10 post, they want to go to that outside rail. And then in the trials last time out a few weeks ago, broke toward the inside, had a duel with Just Sissy Cartel, another qualifier, and managed to get up by a head in the end. Earner of just over 25,000 now and Natural Flying Cowboy. So in the race of the week, the restricted grade 1 TQHA Sale Futurity, I got the 4 Whoopie Cowgirl, the 1 Cowboys Flying, the 8 Apolitical Cowboy, and the 3 Natural Flying Cowboy. 4-1, 8-3 in the Sale Futurity, and that'll wrap up this episode. Don't forget, I will have another episode coming for California Breeders' Championship Night at Los Al. And don't forget to get your 21 Seconds merch. Go to the website, hit merch. It'll take you to our sponsor and partner Inkshed Screen Printing's website where you can get your t-shirts and caps and stuff. They're almost out of caps too, by the way. So go ahead and get after those before we get some new ones in. Might be a while. But anyways, I appreciate y'all for listening. Good luck to everybody at Retama this weekend, and stay tuned for the replays coming on social media of all these races. Thank y'all.